Let's record one more time. And welcome everybody to the Camp Card Kickoff. I'm very excited to have you all here. Looks like we have a pretty decently sized group tonight. So if we have any questions, let's make sure we put those in the chat so we could try to answer them in an orderly fashion. Knowing that, we'll have some time at the end for a free-for-all if you want to wait for them. So let's get moving. Starting off with a very quick overview for what are camp cards. Now we have lots of returners here tonight, so we'll keep this pretty brief. This is the council's spring fundraiser, where we sell discount cards that are specific to each region to help our scouts, raise money to pay their way to camp. These discount cards are $10 per card, and the scout selling them receives a 50% commission, so a much higher percentage than our typical popcorn sale, for example. So for every card they sell, they get $5 right then to use towards paying their way to camp or whatever else they need to fund their scouting journey that year. And one thing I really like about camp cards is that it has pretty low risk for a fundraiser sale. I know some of you who did popcorn in the fall had a little bit of extra popcorn at the end of the year, right? Maybe sold a little bit in the late November, December. The great news about camp cards is if you don't sell all your cards, you can return to us at council at the end. And so if you're kind of worried about starting this for the first time or kind of want to up your numbers, you could do so without very much risk, which is pretty great. Moving on to the regions, I mentioned that we had region-specific cards this year. And we have a couple returners. The big ones being West Valley, East Valley, Scottsdale, Flagstaff, and Prescott. Those are ones we've had for a couple years now. Not doing a Wickenburg card this year just because of low participation there, but we are introducing an Anthem North Phoenix card. So I'll do a couple cities there, kind of give you an idea of our definition of West Valley, East Valley. If I missed your city, but you're in that range, I promise that you are covered as well. And then brand new this year, as I mentioned, we have that Anthem North Phoenix card, which is because we had a lot of awesome businesses in Anthem who gave us deals. And so it's something new we can offer this year. Now, as a unit, you're not restricted to selling cards from one area. If you have a bunch of scouts from, let's say you're a Phoenix troop, we have a lot of scouts coming from Tempe, then you can reserve Tempe cards and sell them down there. That is completely up to you. These are the 6 categories we have. So moving on from there, let's talk about the basic timeline for this year. The reason I'm bringing it up is that we are moving things a little bit earlier, but also extending the sale out a little bit longer. So like every year, we always say as soon as possible, let's make sure you reserve your camp cards. We'll have a link at the end, but the link is grandcanyonbsa.org/campcards. I'll say that again. We'll show it on the screen. Don't worry about it. But the first thing you need to do is go down and see how many camp cards you will need for your unit. This year, we're asking that you order cards in batches of 150. We found that most troops do that anyways. They order 125 or 160, or maybe they're ordering a ton, they're ordering 300, right? Whatever that number is, let's try to make sure we're ordering it in batches of 150, so 150, 300, so on. Like I said earlier, you can return any extra cards you have at the end of the sale, but this just helps us with distribution, how we're organizing cards. January 27th is our early reservation deadline. You can still ask for cards after that date. In fact, you could ask for extra cards throughout the entire sale. But this is your chance to make sure you state claims in case we start to run low on cards in some specific regions. We try to order a surplus of cards every year, but near the end of the sale, we can run a little bit short. So make sure you get your first order in by the 27th to guarantee that amount for your unit. On February 1st, we're going to open up registration for the storefront sales provided by the council, which we'll talk about a little bit later in this presentation. And then we are distributing camp cards a little bit earlier this year, February 11th at the Winter Homecoming event. I know some information was going out about that at the beginning on the rotating slides. That's going to be a big training event happening at the herd on the 11th. And so right after lunch, I think at 1 o'clock, we'll be doing camp card distribution there. After that, you can still pick up your cards from your district executive or at the council office. In that period, February 13th and 17th, hoping to get as many cards out there as possible. Though, as I mentioned before, you're always welcome to pick up more cards after that date. But the 13th through the 17th is when we'll have more DE availability for that distribution. And then our storefront weekend, which you'll be registering for on February 1st, is going to be March 24th through the 25th. You can register for a storefront after February 1st. There are lots of fries in Phoenix and the rest of Arizona, actually. We don't ever end up using all of them, so you can still sign up as you get closer to that date. But February 1st at 10 o'clock a.m. to be exact is when that registration is going to open. I'm going to quickly check the chat because I see some questions to answer while we're here. Can camp card proceeds be used towards Jamboree? Yep, Robert, you definitely can. They can be used for anything in scouting. You can buy a scout book with it. You can pay for camp, pay for Jamboree, pay for camp out of council. Total freedom there. Jason asked, if you'll not be at winter homecoming, can you send a delegate? You can. There's someone from your unit who's allowed to pick up cards. Whoever you need to can pick up those cards, or you can pick it up with your district executive or the council office throughout any of that period. And sales can be used for buying scout uniforms. Yeah. So the money, as a unit, you're keeping it, right? So you have a lot of freedom there and how you use it. Just make sure you're using it for something scouting related. Call them camp cards because it's a good marketing thing, right? Hey, let me go to camp, right? Proceeding on the timeline, April 23rd is the end of our camp card sale. Now, technically, I don't care how long you sell up to May 6th, but that's the date we recommend. So you have plenty of time to tell your scouts to give the cards to you. So you give any extra cards to us. May 5th will be last day to turn in cards at the council office. Your district executives will also have office hours in that time period leading up to May 5th, probably in some businesses close to where you live, but you're always welcome to stop by the council office. And then May 6th will be the last opportunity to turn cards at the spring homecoming event. So we're kind of bookending it with those two events this spring. The big thing here is that any cards not turned out after that date, you are going to owe us the $5 from your half for any cards not returned to us or not sold. If you wanted to, you could keep cards up till September and sell them. But like popcorn has a drop dead date in November, we do need extra cards or the 50% commission by that May 6th date. Check the chat one more time before we keep going. And we'll move on to some sale details. Now we have online, we have a list of all of the businesses on our camp card page, all the businesses included this year. Our vendor is still working the design for us, so we're looking at a couple year old card now. So just give you an idea what it's going to look like. Once again, the deals are an Excel spreadsheet on the website, but this will give you a basic idea of what it will look like. The front of the card has a photo of scouts being happy doing scout things, along with 2 snap-off deals. These are single-use deals that are usually a higher value. Actually, neither Sportsman's or Dave & Buster's will be on this year. The big 3 for our snap-offs are going to be Dick's Sporting Goods, Big 5, and then Tractor Supply. You have 2 of those 3, just depending on where you live and how available they are. Those are higher value deals. They're usually close to or worth the cost of the card, which is a great selling point. Being, hey, even without any of the fantastic deals in the back, if you buy our $10 card and you go to Dick's Sporting Goods, you'll immediately get your $10 back. So even as you're selling it to our scouting supporters, right? They're also not losing anything by supporting us. And the back of the card has some multi-use deals that you can use time and time again. For example, Arizona Hiking Shack, who is returning on our card this year, every time you go there, you get 15% off retail by showing the camp card. And that's where you really build up those savings. So we'll make sure we're showing people who are selling these cards to the back of the card as well. Something new this year is that the 8th slot on our cards is going to have a QR code. And this is going to take you to a password protected part of the website that includes the deals from all the different camp cards. So even if you buy a camp card down from the East Valley for Tempe and Mesa and all those places, Chandler, Gilbert, you can also use the deals for the cards up in Flagstaff or up in the West Valley. As long as you show the deal on the password protected part of the site on your phone, in addition to the card that you're holding. That'll make more sense as we release the new card designs, but basically it's more bang for your buck. Even if you have, even if you might want to use deals outside of your part of the valley, you can, as long as you show the card and then show the deal online. You can actually scan this QR code right now if you wanted. It will take you to a password page since none of you have bought your camp card yet, but you get an idea how that's going to go. And so, like I mentioned, that's going to be in that bottom right corner. It's just going to take a slot away from the card and say, hey, if you want to see more deals, click this QR code. And I'll be happy to explain that again, depending on how, if you have any questions with that. Moving on to storefronts. Our big council storefront is going to be Fry's Food Stores, March 24th through 25th. And those times begin February 1st at 10 o'clock a.m. Jason messaged me in chat and asked me if there'd be signups at any other locations other than Fry's. So that is going to be very possibly, yes. We're currently working with Walmart to get some Walmart organized sales there. Unfortunately, a lot of the businesses we work with for storefronts in the fall with popcorn are either set up by Trails End or they restrict the number of weekends we do. So Fry's is our only every year storefront, but that is the we're pushing to open up some weekends at Walmart as well, and we'll release more information as we confirm those dates. But I know lots of troops have had lots of success scheduling your own by talking to local businesses, whether it's like a Lowe's or Home Depot or a coffee shop, really anywhere near you that has really good foot traffic. A lot of times, if you ask for a storefront, they'll give you one. And a lot of times, businesses on the cards will as well. And pretty soon we'll be adding a section on our camp card page that lists businesses that have given us permission to have you reach out to them and organize a sale in front of their store. What's great about that is that you can tell customers they're going to get an immediate bang for your buck. If you're hanging out in front of Arizona Hiking Shack, which I know has given us permission to ask for storefronts, you can tell someone, hey, you get 15% off right now. So number one, if you're trying to find storefronts outside of Fry's Food Stores, we recommend first, local shops with good foot traffic, but then also looking at the businesses that are physically on the card. They've shown they already like scouting and they want to support us in any way they can. Now, lost my train of thought there for a second, but we do recommend that you push storefronts as much as possible. We'll talk about some more traditional models as well, but it has been proven that storefronts are really the most effective way to sell cards. Definitely a much better use of your time than wandering the neighborhood for hours, right? So definitely try to make sure you hit up that Fry's Food Store weekend. If you need other ideas, get those set up soon. All righty. So in addition to storefronts, mentioned that you can do door-to-door sales, visiting your local neighborhoods, talking to your community groups, other family members, going to local parks if allowed. Still a great way to do sales. Quick trip around the neighborhood can easily earn your scouts some extra cash to get themselves to camp. And when doing this, we recommend you tell your scouts emphasize why they're doing the sale, right? It is easy to get caught up in the details of, oh, this is a card, you get a great value for it. But also if they say, hey, I really want to go to summer camp this year, this is how you can support me doing that, that is a much more impactful message. So try to make sure as you're talking with your scouts and getting them involved in the sale, tell them, emphasize the why of how they're doing it. Now, next thing I want to mention is camp cards for a cause. What's great about camp cards for a cause, it's really, really easy. This is something that we started doing in 2020 during the pandemic when a lot of storefronts closed up and it was a lot harder to sell cards. And the concept was that it'd be online donations where instead of buying a camp card for yourself, you'd be buying a camp card for a member of the community, right? So past couple of years, we've been doing educators. We're going to continue to do that this year. And the website has a full guide on how you can set up camp cards for a cause. But the short and simple is that we're currently doing through Facebook fundraising. So what you would do is go to the council Facebook page, press start fundraiser, and name it Brendan Switt's Camp Card for a Cause fundraiser. And then you can post on your Facebook account to all your friends, hey, trying to earn my way to camp, this is how you can support me. You can also share the link to people that may not be a part of Facebook to donate that way as well. Just a little bit easier setup than how we use camp cards for a cause in the past. Like I said before, on our website, we have a step-by-step guide with screenshots that makes it as foolproof as possible to tell you how to do that. And even if you're not going to do a camp card sale this year, I really recommend you think about doing camp cards for a cause. It's no harder than doing a few clicks online, and that's a good way to get a little bit extra cash once again to fundraise for your scouting year. Jason messaged me again and asked, does $5 still go to the scout? And you're correct, it does. So What's going to happen is that we're going to get a fundraising report from Facebook that's going to list every single fundraiser, how much money it raised, and we're going to deposit your half of that money into your unit account. Last year we sent checks in the mail. We're going to shift to unit accounts this year. It's a little bit easier to remain accountable on that. But yes, for Camp Cards for a Cause, $5 still goes to the Scout, and it's even easier than regular camp cards. So I definitely recommend you do this in addition to your sale, or even if you're not going to do the regular sale at all. Cool. So resources about this and much more. First thing is going to grandcanyonbsa.org/campcards. And that will take you to our brand new support center if you haven't checked out online. A new portion of our website that organizes our pages a little bit better. But type in that there, it'll give you a full page that explains everything in this presentation. We'll have the recording of this presentation probably sometime tomorrow after we get uploaded. As well as a Camp Card Leaders Guide, information how to do Camp Cards for a Cause, the list of businesses, and much more. If you have any questions, I definitely recommend reaching out to myself or Sandra Wendt. Sandra Wendt is our council fundraising chair, and she has led some really successful Camp Card fundraisers in her troop. So if you're wondering what are some pro tips or how you get started, recommend talking to her. If you have questions about logistics and how to get cards or what really any part of the sale is going to look like, please definitely reach out to me. I'd be happy to talk to you about that. Last two reminders for going to questions, I want to say is remember to reserve your cards if possible by January 27th. So you have a good idea of how many you need. And remember to order your cards in batches of 150 this year. And now we're going to go to questions. I'll leave this screen up for a minute in case any of you guys are writing something down. And go ahead and we're going to skip back forward again. My apologies. We'll answer some questions in the chat in a second. You guys can pipe up as well if you want to ask it vocally, and we'll try to get you all out of here before it gets too late. So Jason asked, can you use the link of the Facebook Camp Cards for Cause put on other social media? You can. You'll create a link that you could share over email or social media on a paper flyer if you wanted. So that'll be pretty easy there. Paul Stitham asked if there's any incentives for camp. So we stopped doing incentives a couple of years ago to increase the commission back to the Scout. It used to be 35%, now it's 50%. So that's why we're not doing incentives this year. Ray said the Camp Cards link doesn't appear to be working. So I'm going to check that on my phone really quick while you all put more questions in the chat. John McClellan said it did. Okay, so Robert gives you put in the final slash. I'll talk to our tech folks to see if we get rid of that final slash because it may be a little bit confusing. But for now, recommend putting in Camp Cards and slash one more time. Let's see. Jason asked if I would buy a camp card from his son. That is the camp card I will buy this year. Jason got to me first, so congratulations. For the formal meeting, I'll hang out a little bit more for questions. And other than that, have a great night.